Hello, everybody. This is Tommy, World at War Comics. I'm also the creator and writer for the series Kingsville. Right now, you can get issue number 2 through Kickstarter. All you got to do is go to Kickstarter, type in Kingsville, and then pick up issue 2. If you missed issue 1, no worries. There's a great deal on both issue 1 and issue 2. So head over to Kickstarter today. All right, today I have a fantastic, wonderful guest. But before we get into that, I need you to hit that subscribe, hit that ring bell. That really helps out the channel. I also want to let you know of a couple companies that we work really closely with. The first one is CN Chilies. It's the best hot sauce you could buy. It's CIENCHILES.com. Go to cienchilies.com and order your hot sauce today. Use comics at checkout and you'll save 15% off your entire order. And our other partners are Comic Crusaders, the best in comic book reviews, music, movie reviews. It's incredible. They also have a podcast where they bring on absolutely fabulous guests. So go to comiccrusaders.com today. Follow them on YouTube and all social media. All right, without further ado, our next guest is Xermanico. He is the artist extraordinaire on the current run of Green Lantern with Jeremy Adams. You're going to have a blast with this interview. Such an amazing, humble gentleman and an incredible artist. If you're a Green Lantern fan, you're probably loving him as much as I do in this amazing run by Jeremy Adams and Xermanico. So without further ado, Xermanico and I. Thanks, everybody. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. Today, my special guest is Mr. Xermanico out of Spain. He is the artist extraordinaire right now on Green Lantern. Of course, you have done a lot with DC, Boom, IDW. You've had a pretty amazing career so far. How are you?
I'm fine and great, and thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
It's really nice because I think this is my first podcast, and it's in English, so it's like a challenge to me. But
No worries.
I'm really fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. We're going to take it really nice and easy, and we're going to talk about something I think we both love. So I think it'll be fun.
Yes. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. So, Xermanico, I would like to start from the very beginning of comics in your life. Can you kind of share what one of your first experiences with comics was?
Yes, I basically learned to read with comic books. Here in Spain, we usually read the traditional Spanish or French comic books that are really usual in Europe. So
Yeah.
my first reads were Asterix. You know
Okay.
the French the French character Tintin.
No, I'm
I,
not.
I, I, Tantan in French is the most popular character in Belgium,
Oh, wow.
and Mortadelo y Filemón. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the name in English, but
Yeah.
it's a really popular Spanish characters.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember when I was little reading traditional American comics, but the Sunday Street comics like Prince Valiant, for instance. I love Prince Valiant,
Yeah.
and and on other Spanish and European comic books. In fact, my first superhero comic book was a Batman Forever comic book adaptation.
Yeah. That's neat. That's a good series.
Yes, and after that, in my teenage years, I started reading a lot of manga,
Yeah.
and right after that, superhero comic books.
Yeah.
So the way I understand comics is a mix of all these things.
Right. When did you really have a love for art, and when did you know that I'm pretty good at this and I can maybe make a career out of it?
Mm. When I was 14,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to become an artist,
Yeah.
but I didn't think that I was good.
Oh,
What I thought that in that time is that if I made uh, an extra effort, if I tried way too hard,
yeah.
I maybe I could get something. This is
Yeah.
what my view, because I didn't feel that I was gifted or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was more like I am stubborn enough to get it, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Sometimes
Yes,
you
because
have to be, right?
pardon.
Sometimes you have to be very stubborn to get what you need, right?
yes, and I wasn't aware of how bad I was, something like that. Yes, but my parents used to tell me that if I try it and I made the effort enough,
Yeah,
I would get something.
yeah,
This
yeah,
so even knowing that there was a lot of people much better than me,
yeah.
I thought that if I try it hard, I could get something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, then
Mm.
how did you, was the first company that you worked for? I know you did a comic with IDW, the Duke Nukem. Was that the
That
first
was the
comic?
first one.
Oh, really?
Uh, yes, I did some little illustration work before that, but really,
Okay.
really little. There
Yeah.
was an 8-page comic book or dinosaur comic books for Discovery Channel, but
Yeah.
8 pages, something like that. The
Yeah.
the first real gig, the first real work was the Duke Nukem.
Yeah. And how did you get work with IDW? Did you just send in like samples or how did that work out?
I had an agent. I was working with an Spanish agency, and they looked for a lot of works, and I tried for different projects, and this was the first one that they decided to trust.
Yeah, that's excellent.
So it was with Eduardo Alpuente. It's an Spanish agent, and it was really nice. At that time, I got a lot of stress because I didn't have a really good level, and
Yeah.
it was my first job. I had to be on time,
Yeah.
but I enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's excellent. So you've worked for IDW on a few different items, and then with Boom too, right? I think didn't you do Power Rangers?
No, I did. With Boom, I did mainly
Oh,
covers for Power Rangers
yeah,
and some other projects.
yeah.
But my second job was with a French editor, Le Dorjam.
Uh-huh.
It's basically the Ubisoft publishing house in France.
Oh,
So I
okay.
made an adaptation of a video game, Might and Magic Hero 6.
Oh, wow.
So I made a French book, this French big books with in comic book. It didn't it didn't sell well.
Oh.
We were going to make the three books, and we just made the first one.
Yeah.
After that, I almost immediately started working with DC Comics.
Oh,
But in the meanwhile, I made the covers for the editors and other publishers.
yeah, yeah. So what was your first work with DC Comics? Was it Injustice?
Arrow,
Oh, Arrow.
Arrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrow,
Yeah.
the Arrow adaptation. I had to make a lot of actors,
Yeah.
and after that, I had 20 pages in the Injustice first annual,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
after that, some chapters with the Vampire Diaries adaptation.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So I spent 2 years looking for a lot of photographs of actors, in order to draw them.
that's right, huh? Yeah, because that was
Mm.
a TV adaptation, right? The comic book.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
is that
but
difficult? Taking like an actor and then trying to create a an image of that actor as opposed to just taking something like an Hal Jordan that's been around for a very long time and just maintaining it. Which more
yes, even today I think it's harder. And I spend a lot of time trying to get the resemblance, to make them look in them as they look in the TV, and
yeah,
I still think that this was a tough work.
yeah,
But it was a school anyway. It
yeah,
was a school its way. I mean, yeah, and the editors were aware of how difficult it was.
yeah,
They understood the problems we had in order to achieve these things.
yeah. I mean, that's good. Takes maybe a little bit of the stress off, right?
Yes, but and anyway, I enjoy that because
Yeah.
even though it was harder,
Hmm.
I like to make portraits. I
Yeah.
mean, I studied fine arts,
Yeah.
and the portrait was the thing I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
So even though it was harder, and sometimes I just needed a character that didn't have to be exactly as the actor. I somehow enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and it was well.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. When you started working for DC, you had already had drawn Hal Jordan and other books before you were on Green Lantern?
Uh, I had drawn Hal Jordan, yes, before Green Lantern. And at Injustice,
Yeah.
I had drawn in Justice League.
Yeah.
So when I had to make Black Stars, the first real time with Hal as the main character, I
Mhm.
had already drawn him several times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's pretty nice to get into Green Lantern and you look at you got thumbs up for it.
yes, and anyway, when I was studying how to draw comic book superheroes,
Uh-huh.
I usually try to look for the artists I enjoy the most. I think that are the better ones.
Yeah.
And so before having to work with Hal Jordan, I already had seen a lot of illustrations and comic books with people like Neil Adams or José Luis García López, these kind
Yeah.
of guys. In
Yeah.
fact, I would say that the most similar way when I try to figure out how to draw Hal Jordan, I
Uh-huh.
usually the first image that comes to my mind is the José Luis García López designs.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the kind of thing I usually have in mind.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's a good person to have. Right?
Yes,
I-
he's a master.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, there are a lot of masters, and I admire a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when you have to reach the icon,
Yeah.
I don't know I'm expressing it well. When I when you have to reach the icon, I think that the main guy is José Luis García López. There are other artists that are really important in DC comic history,
Yeah.
but it's something like every character is is in the exact point, like, something like that. I would
Amazing.
say.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think
Mm.
so. Well, now you're on Hal Jordan on Green Lantern. You're working with Jeremy Adams, who is one of my favorite writers. I really enjoy his writing. And to have you on art and him on writing has been spectacular. So I'm really loving Hal Jordan, and I love your art,
Thank
Xermanico.
you very
It's
much.
amazing. Can you tell me, as a 14-year-old and you're drawing, that's one thing, but then to have panels and have to put that character in a lot of different poses, was that a hard transition to go from just drawing a character to all these different poses, him using his ring? And I mean, that's, I would think, would be a hard transition.
Hmm. It was hard when I was at Injustice. When I was
Oh,
at Injustice, I was still learning the genre.
yeah,
I mean, nor Duke Nukem nor My Heroes of Might and Magic were superhero comic books, and even
yeah,
Arrow was more or less superhero, but it was more like an TV adaptation. So
yeah.
when I was working on Injustice, one of the tough things was getting the point on how superhero comic books work,
Yeah.
and it was with all characters. In fact, Green Lantern was a challenge itself.
Mhm.
But I remember having a worse time with Superman.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah,
Yes, because he's the hero, he's the
yeah,
icon. And but when I came to the actual Hal Jordan series,
yeah,
I had already worked with him in other places,
yeah.
so it wasn't that difficult. I mean, there was more gradual than it looks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's good. I mean, it came out so well. As far as the relationship, and this goes for anybody, not just with Jeremy Adams, but the relationship between an artist and a writer is very important for the reader, right? And we know when an artist and a writer aren't on the same page. When you're reading, you could tell like the artist is saying one thing and the writer is saying another thing. So it's wonderful when you have a comic book where it all makes sense. Can you talk about how important it is that you and the writer are close when you're working in order for that? Because you're telling a large portion of that story as well in the art because you're limited by words. So I'm reading the comic book through your art as much as I'm reading it through Jeremy's writing, right?
Yeah. Yes. How could I say? Usually in the comic book market, we work in one direction only. I mean, the writer makes the story,
Yeah,
so the artist has to make it art somehow, and
yeah,
then the inker, the colorist, and we are in one direction.
yeah,
So at first, my view is that I had to make an extra effort
yeah,
in order to understand what the writer wants.
yeah,
That Jeremy is also it's a real a nice person. He's a really great guy,
yeah,
and he's helpful in order to understand what does he needs,
yeah, yeah,
what does he need, and he's also helpful in order to make something like he knows that I will enjoy, or I will shine with.
yeah,
Uh, so when when I read his scripts, or any other writer scripts, I try to understand what he's bringing, all the emotions, all the things, what's the general feel, what's the specific feel of her moment,
yeah,
and then try to bring all the things I know, or I think that might be helpful in order to push that to the best level as possible.
yeah,
And with Jeremy, I think that he's been helpful in a really great way. He's trying to make me feel comfortable, to enjoy the process,
yeah,
and and to be together in this. I mean, and there are a lot of writers and instructors, and most of times you feel that we are together in this work, but he's doing his part, I'm doing mine, and
right,
the editor is the one that is saying that everything is okay. But this time, I also think that he wants me to feel
mhm,
uh, closer to all the project,
yeah,
and that's really really nice, and I am enjoying it a lot. And I enjoyed the process, but I'm also enjoying the feel he's bringing to the scripts.
yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. Is there a favorite character since you've been with DC that you like the draw?
In these comics,
In DC Comics in general, of all the different characters that you done art with, do you have one that you really enjoy more than others?
uh, every project has its point.
Yeah,
For me, a nightmare would be drawing the same character for 25 years.
yeah,
But so I really like spending time on different projects with different approaches.
yeah,
But I would love to work on Superman.
yeah,
I would love to work on Batman,
yeah,
and I really would love to try again Wonder Woman.
yeah, yeah. The
And Wonder
Trinity,
Woman,
that's the
I
most
I
important characters.
I wasn't the biggest Wonder Woman fan. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a great character, but she wasn't my favorite character. And that after working with her, it was a key moment in my career. It was a tipping point,
yeah,
and I felt absolutely comfortable with the character. There
yeah,
were a lot of challenges that I enjoyed. There was an amount of ideas or compositions I could explore that Wonder Woman was the right character to work with, and I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah, yeah,
So anyway, I'm open to different projects. In fact, for me, the ideal project is not the character itself,
yeah,
but the project in general. So, but these are the three characters.
yeah, yeah. That's excellent. That's excellent. Now, some of the you have when you're writing, right, you have each of the panels that you're doing art in, and then you have the splash pages where you have a character that takes up the whole page. Do you have a preference? Which one do you enjoy and which one's more difficult?
I try to enjoy everything.
Yeah.
For me, the difficult ones are the pin-up splash page. For instance, the iconic character working. The reason is that when we work on pages, there are a lot of solutions and different approaches, and I can make an approach that I think that is mine and our not mine. I mean that will be different from other more talented artists.
Sure,
But
sure.
when we work in an actual splash page with Hal Jordan flying or
Yeah,
Superman saving the world,
yeah,
there's a direct comparison. There is no so much space to explore ideas. I mean,
yeah,
it's great. There are 5, 6 ideas you can make, but all the artists are going to make things similar in these opportunities.
yeah,
So the comparison is absolutely direct, and there's no way to find something that is somehow different to the others.
yeah, yeah. That's excellent. That's excellent.
That's that for me. That's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the end of the day, I enjoy these pages a lot, of course.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you could tell the Green Lantern has been so fun. This new run with you and Jeremy, and I talk to a lot of Green Lantern fans because we have groups, and there's even YouTube pages that are dedicated only to Green Lantern. And I could tell you, just talking to a lot of different people, this new run by Jeremy and you has been so much fun, and we're really excited about Green Lantern because of it. Uh,
That's for me. That's fantastic,
yeah,
and Jeremy is doing a really good job on bringing some fresh emotion, let's say, to the characters.
yeah,
Something that it reads the emotion, the inspiration, and you can read that in the script.
oh yeah,
So I'm trying to bring that to the actual pages.
yeah. It comes across. We definitely see that. We
Hmm.
definitely see that. What is the comic book world like in Spain? Is there a lot of comic book stores? Are people as engaged like we are in the US over some of these characters or other characters
Yes,
more?
yes,
Yeah,
it's somehow different because the balance between the different genres is different.
yeah,
But we do have comic book shops.
yeah,
We have fandom, but our country is smaller. So I mean, if you went to a town,
yeah,
I think that there is the same amount of comic book fans that in
yeah,
the US. But as we are a much smaller country, our publishers that don't have the big market you need for a comic book system. So most of the comics in Spain are published are translate comics.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, the editor buys the license to bring an American series or a Japanese series or a French series, and this is the kind of comic books we find translated foreign publications. But there's also some Spanish comics that are really interesting.
really,
The,
yeah,
we have our comic book culture
yeah,
in a similar way to the US. The only difference is that the balance between what we read is a little bit different.
yeah, yeah. Are you able to find the books that you work on in Spain easily? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's good.
It takes sometimes some months to come. If I make a comic book in November and
Yeah,
it's published in January in the US, it might be published in April or May in Spain, something like that. So
yeah,
it's really quick.
yeah, yeah.
Nowadays, 20 years ago, it was much longer, but
Yeah,
today it's really quick.
that's good. That's great. That's great. Are you doing Comic Cons? And are you coming to the US to do any?
I'm doing some Comic Cons in Europe, but the point is that I have a little child,
Yeah,
and for these years, until he's a little bit bigger, I don't want to stay out of home so many times. And if I go to a Comic Con, I would prefer to bring my family
Yeah,
with me
absolutely.
in order to make some tours or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm doing one, two, maybe three Comic Cons per year, and not in with commercial point of view. I mean, I prefer to go sign some comic books, stay with the fans, read it, and try to sell a lot of things.
Yeah.
But in the future, that might change, and I think that I really need to go to the US sometime.
That'll be
It's
wonderful. Like San Diego or New York Comic Con are the two biggest.
Yes, yes, something like that. No, I don't know if this might be this new year, but if not this year, then next year. I have to go. I really know that I have to go.
Yeah, yeah. It would be fun to have you. This last San Diego Comic Con was wonderful. And of course, DC had a really big booth, and
Mm.
Jeremy was there, Joshua Williamson was there. There were so many great people there. But yeah, it would be wonderful to have you for sure.
And I really need to meet Jeremy in person.
Yeah, yeah, that would be neat. Yeah.
He's one of the nicest guys I've ever found in the comic book industry.
Oh, he is. He's wonderful, and like you, a very, very strong family man. If you watch his social media, he's always opening
Ah,
the
yes, yes,
daughters.
with his daughter. Yes, yes. He's really nice. He's really
Yeah,
nice.
really nice. Is there a character that you haven't done yet that you would like a chance to do,
At DC, DC Comics.
or anywhere, or anywhere? Yeah,
Well, I must say that I love comics in general and from a lot of countries. So it might be a weird answer, but I love Italian characters like Dylan Doc
yeah,
or Tech. I love French character like Blueberry.
yeah,
Uh, and in the US, I would love to work in Superman. I would love to work in something like Sandman,
yeah,
Sandman related project or X-Men. So, I don't know if I'm the right guy for X-Men for an X-Men book, but I
yeah.
would love.
Why would you say that? Why do you think you're maybe not the right?
Because every series needs something different.
Yeah,
Superman needs something classic, iconical,
yeah,
and with the things I'm doing right now, I don't know if I would be an artist for X-Men. For instance, when I see Pepe Larraz's work at X-Men, I say he's the right guy.
yeah. He's amazing. Yeah,
He's the right guy. And sometimes you see a great artist in another series, and you say you can see he's a great artist anyway,
yeah,
but this is not his place.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, but there are some series that I would love to work with, but I don't really know if I would be the right guy for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's
In
understandable.
fact, I was really worried about Green Lantern before starting working with that because I didn't know if I was the right guy for that. So I worked on the style, I worked on how to show things, how to choose solutions or choose different solutions in order to be the right guy. It was really I was really worried about this when I was starting with the project.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe that's a good feeling to have. It's a very humble feeling, which I think is good because it shows that you have a lot of respect for the character and the history of the character, which I think is wonderful. I will say on behalf, I'm not speaking for all Green Lantern fans, but I think you're the right person for Green Lantern
I
out.
think so. Thank you very much. That's a key thing.
Yeah.
Um, I would say when I work on a project, it might be my favorite project or not, but you have to respect the project and try to look for something in the project that you love. I love the Green Lantern world and characters, but I had other projects, and you have to to find the things and the general sense of the project and respect the project. Sometimes artists can be selfish with these kind of things, and it's really important having in mind what do they need of you
Yeah.
in a balance of what do you do.
Yeah.
It's
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Wow. Can you before we hit the record button, we were talking about your name, and I thought
Hmm.
it was such an amazing story. Could you kind of share with us again? Because I think a lot of people see your name, Xermanico, and for an English speaker, it might be a little difficult to say until you explain it the way that you did.
Yes, some people thinks that it's a nickname, but it's actually a name.
Yeah.
My father is a strange man. I love him, and he chose for me a complete name, Alejandro Germánico Benito González. Alejandro Germánico, the name,
Uh-huh.
is a mix of a usual Spanish name, Alejandro, Alexander,
Yeah.
mixed with the Germanicus, the Roman general, that in Spanish is pronounced Germánico.
Uh,
But then Xermanico comes from for the fact that I lived for many years. I spent my childhood and teenage years in a region in north of Spain, Galicia. There we have another language, the Galician language. It's close to Portuguese, and it's really common that people there they might have a Spanish name, but in the usual days they usually use a Galician translation of this name,
yeah.
or they have a Galician name in the usual life, but their parents chose to have a Spanish name in the ID.
Uh,
So in my village, it's really common that people call me Xermánico or something like that, and I choose my name in Galician to sign my comic books. It's like, that's simple, and it's called Xermánico. Anyway, I don't get offended when people call me with a mispronounced name,
yeah.
or they choose to call me Germanico because Germanico is actually is also my name. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's such a unique story. And
Mhm.
yeah, and of course, I think most people want to try at least to pronounce it correctly, so it's good to know.
Yes, but anyway, I don't get offended with a
Yeah.
mispronounced name because when I travel to other places, both Alejandro and Germánico are difficult words to pronounce in other places.
Yeah.
So the first time I was in the UK, the family I was staying with in my teenage years,
Uh-huh.
they tried let's call you Alexander, isn't it? And it's okay, it's okay. And it happened the same in France. They called me Alexandre. And,
Yeah.
and when I made an exchange year in Portugal,
Uh,
it also happened the same. And they say Alexandre. And it was great. I don't get offended with that.
yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of names too now.
Yes, and you know that the Spanish people and South American people can have two names.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's really common, and I have two names. So one day I was thinking, and with my actual names, their translations, and the nicknames related to them, I had more than 20 ways of calling me.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're very universal. That's okay.
Wow, not that much, but but I can live with that. And anyway, when people is trying to be friendly,
Yeah.
let's be friendly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well,
Hmm.
Shamanico, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending time with me. I'm so honored that I'm the first US podcast that you've been on. That is amazing. I hope you do more of these podcasts because I think people really like to get to know the artists and the writers of the comics that they love. And we really appreciate it. As a fan, I very much appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I hope listeners enjoy the podcast too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Shimanico, thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing Christmas and an amazing New Year with your family. And yeah, I hope we could do this again sometime.
Great, thank you very much. I hope we meet again in the future.
Yeah, San Diego Comic Con. I'll be looking for you if you arrive.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.